that belong on the land where they belong so they can raise these matriarchs back to prominence. Because as Elijah said, a nation can rise no higher than its women. And our women has been being subjugated by somebody that don't belong here.
All right, let's get to the next question. This question, hold up. This question is for Blue and Rod. Is it possible that we are artificial intelligence from the future who have traveled to the past to have a human experience?
You want to take that first, Blue, or you want me to take it first?
Hmm.
That's an interesting question. It's an interesting question. Simply because when I was growing up reading certain religious texts and I was looking at inscriptions on walls and monuments and all of that, I just always felt that I was reading history backwards. I was like, "Oh, this is from the future. We ain't even get here yet to do this. We reading about something that we've yet to do." If I'm to buy into the concept or theory of evolution, it don't make sense. It cancels itself out just with basic logic. That how are these monuments? How are these inscriptions in stone? How are they possible without diamond tip instruments? The particular mathematics on these monuments is precise. The golden means and phi and everything. I'm like, this doesn't make sense to the quote unquote logical mind. Do I think that I'm AI from the future though coming back? No, I don't. I don't necessarily think that. But I do acknowledge the fact that when I have encounters with crafts, things of that nature, there's an aspect of that I feel is quantum. That may be me in my future, body or encasement coming back, like how they showed you in X-Men, past and present. But I'm not AI. Mm.
Um, we are sentient intelligence, quantum intelligence, actually, but we're not artificial intelligence. Um, the physical body is not us. The physical body is based on a form of technology. And the form of technology that it's based on is organic, silicon based, or carbon based, actually,
Carbon based, right?
phalanx
It's
nanotech.
it's almighty intelligence.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But it's still nanotech. You still
Hmm.
have self replicating nanotechnology at play. The study of the human organism or the living organism, where the cells, the DNA split and recombine to form a different helix, right? That understanding of that science gave birth to what we call nanotech, um, the study of it. So when they study in biology, they're trying to figure out how did God put this mechanism together and how can we duplicate it, right? So there's a book about 4 volumes called Mendelian Inheritance in Man, and it has the DNA encoding for each codon.
Hmm.
If you know what you're looking for, you can unravel the mystery of the DNA. The DNA is a self-replicating organic capacitor that is powered by a mitochondrial matrix to allow this consciousness that exists in a neutron star to be funneled into your physical self. Once it funnels into your physical self, this is what you call the burning. The burning is the soul's fire inside of the organism. And the burning requires oxygen for the combustion. The combustion is the oxidization of the metals in the blood that generates the color of the blood. Um, when you study, you see that in ancient times we had green hue. The green hue was not everybody, it was certain ones, and they were primarily magnesium base over copper base, right? So they was copper and magnesium instead of iron and magnesium. I mean copper. Now, iron oxidization caused the rusting and the ruddy red complexion. When the magnesium and the copper begin to oxidize, they be turned green. So some of the babies are still born with the green hue because their magnesium levels that they drew from the mother is sufficient enough to facilitate that transfer of oxidization in the blood. They doctors tell you it's bruising from being in the womb. That ain't no goddamn bruise. Because if it was, it would be sore to the touch when you touch it,
Hmm.
right? So it ain't no bruise. It's a coloration from magnesium synthesis in the fetal as it developed because it drew more magnesium than iron from mama. Because
Yes.
she probably didn't have sufficient quantities of iron, and the baby is going to
Right.
take the magnesium to replace it.
And that's key because both of those deficiencies impact melanated people specifically, and that's a cause, they say, for the majority, once again, of the uptick of diseases, right? Because you need comparable parts of magnesium to actually activate calcium in your body for it to work. So they wasn't lying when they said milk does a body good. What I meant by that, not milk, but calcium. But you can't use calcium unless you have equal parts magnesium. And then the iron deficiency, 90% of people in this country is iron deficient, but it impacts melanated people more specifically because you can tell by our the numbers, the larger numbers that we have with sickle cell infliction. You know what I'm saying? So that iron and that magnesium, those are two key elements or minerals, you know.
Hmm.
Especially the iron in the women. When the women become iron deprived, they have prolonged menstrual cycles, painful menstrual cycles, and heavy bleeding. And when they are in stasis with the metals in their blood system, they have shorter periods with lesser amounts of blood. Some of them just spot, right? They don't have a full fledged flowing menstrual like other women. But it goes back to the chemistry. You know, what metals do you hold on? Magnesium is actually a synthesizer for all of the trace metals that the body uses. And the vitamin C is the synthesizer for all of the rest of the vitamins. You can't use it without it.
Let's get to the next question. How do we as a collective raise the matriarch? Are we getting further away from such?
Actually, the calling for Larry Hoover to come forth in order to raise the matriarchy, the three chieftains of the land, the three high chiefs' job is to first come forward and give a report to the people on the conditions of the land, and then introduce them to the grand matriarch on the land. So this instrumental and it's direct and it's almost here. Soon as enough of us understand what's going on in our culture, we can raise the matriarchy once again, and that is the restoration of ultimate balance on earth.
Indeed. Let's get to somebody said, what are the best iron tablets?
Um,
Yeah, we
I
don't.
got a herbalist that I get that information from. He normally have his own, so I'm not really sure
Yeah.
what one to refer you to because this is a lot of good.
We always spoke about iron phosphate. That's plant-based iron. And you can get that in liquid form. You can get it from my mother now. She got a sale. She got a sale on the website greenleaf-herbs.com. Right. You get the oxyhemo. That's their classical iron tonic. right? That's the classical iron tonic. So yeah, that was the key to a lot of what Sabi did in this healing modality. Is he was able to utilize iron phosphate, which is absorbable and integratable, especially by the melanated body.
Another
Right.
thing about iron oxide is it's already used anyway, and you can't use something that's already been used. And oxidized iron is rust.
Mm-hmm. All right, next question. Lakasha wants to know any connection between left hand people, dyslexia, and the world presented to us upside down slash backwards.
It's a 100% correlation because we're supposed to be ambidextrous first off,
Mm,
but because they teach us to be left brain dominant, most people are right-handed because the right hand is controlled by the left brain. The right brain dominant, which is the mother brain, abstract, is left-handed. When you learn to become ambidextrous, you're learning to use both sides of your brain, right? And the world being presented to us upside down and backwards makes it easier to trap you only on one side of the brain.
Blue, you want to add anything to that, Blue, or for?
Yeah, I mean he pretty much covered it. You know what I'm saying? We've continuously said that in the upside down topsy turvy world, you know, if you can't orientate yourself, how can you pivot? How can you do whatever's necessary if you don't know what angle that you're coming from? And I also spoke about the experience, the physical experience I had when I traveled across the Atlantic Ocean. I said what? I said I activated the other hemisphere of my brain. I was dual hemispheric thinking when I came back. I understood shit better. I was calculating at a much my body, the homeostasis of my body started becoming balanced because I did not actively activate the other hemisphere of my brain. I was just stuck in Western thought and in the West, physically located in the Western hemisphere.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So,
mm,
and then metaphysically or metaphorically, what they say that is two hemispheres of your brain. That's the eastern and the western, and the middle column is the middle passage. So that would be the Atlantic Ocean. So when I
mm,
crossed that ocean, I had got dual hemispheric activation. So yeah.
indeed. All right,
And
we're
then when
gonna.
I came back, I've been practicing techniques to brush with my opposite hand. Like
You
you
mentioned
said,
you mentioned that before. Yeah,
it's
you
written
mentioned that.
about
Yeah.
the ambidextrous nature of utilizing both hemispheres.
I make sure one thing I do, family. I told y'all I developed the practice of writing my affirmations with my left hand, and I started doing that during the making of Holy Ghost One, the album when me and Cambade just came to my mind to write affirmations with my left hand, and then shit, it worked for me. So yeah, man, that us being ambidextrous makes a lot of sense, family. I'm gonna take 5 more questions. Then we're gonna get out of here. Don't want to hold the brother too long, but I know you're enjoying the show. We're gonna get to the next question. Ashley wants to know how can we identify the black conquistadors today? Any tips for identifying the enemy? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You sound.
Anybody tell you to get some paperwork to validate who you is a slave catcher. If they tell you you got to file anything with this defunct system to validate who you are, they're a slave catcher. If they ain't out slave catching, look for the one that come around in a peaceful group, always trying to sow seeds of dissension. That's their job. When they catch a righteous congregated, they want to start some shit between two of them, right? So this is the identifier of the character type. They can't help it. They can't stand to see us getting along. They can't stand to see us talking about ousting them from off our land for the atrocity they committed on our people. They're gonna find every excuse to try to tell you that you black. You ain't black. Crayons is black. So when you show me somebody that can match a crayon, I done seen some people match a purple one, but before I done seen people match a black one, right? But those are the telltale signs that they trying to trap you back into slavery again and revalidate their old defunct contracts. Their contracts is up. Their time is up, right? But that's how you identify them. They come in talking about the people of the land, don't know what they talking about, and that you need to come down here and file this paperwork and give me some money. Anybody that's overcharging you for services to give you back your history, they ain't us. I do this shit for free because we need to wake the fuck up. They not gonna do nothing for free. They want you to pay them at every turn, right? They not interested in the liberation of the people. They interested in how can they be comfortable living over the people that subjugate. We
Yeah,
don't want
not
you
the
liberated.
liberation of the people, the liquidation of the people.
Yeah. So that's how you can tell the difference.
Can he speak on the Indians they taught us about in school through the Trail of Tears?
So that's the great exodus from the so-called Bible stories. The Trail of Tears was actually a POW march. They was trying to find somewhere to put these people without them alerting other people. So the Trail of Tears is called that for more than one reason, but the main reason is because the sorrow that came along with it and inflicted a lot of misery. And it was Dawes Roll Indians incorporated with the indigenous people of the land. The Dawes Roll Indians ain't from here. Those are the ones that they created the contracts with, pretending that they were us.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to take it off mute, family. Are there really pyramids in the Grand Canyon?
It's pyramids all over the world. You can't go nowhere on Earth and not find some pyramids somewhere. Some of them they told you was mountains are not mountains, but pyramids covered with trees.
Right there in Ohio.
You said in Ohio, Blue?
It's all kind of pyramidal structures, mound structures. We was mound builders,
Yeah, all over.
you know. So we got it's all over the land. It's not hard. You can Google that shit. It's easy to find. They'll show you where it's at, and then tell you didn't see what you just saw. You can go there and literally see it with your own eyes. Walk on the pyramid, and then they're gonna tell you that it wasn't what you thought it was. Imagine the audacity of that.
Yeah.
You've been there, and they tell you it ain't that.
That's a fact.
they,
You,
they,
it's like I know what this is,
they be
and
like,
they'll
nah.
even
They be like, nah. Be like, nah. Man. The Torch wants to know: is there any of us that did go to Africa?
That was the Liberian movement. They actually took a whole bunch of us to
yeah.
Africa.
He took a lot.
They took more of us to Africa than they brought Africans over here.
Hmm.
They was trying to get us off the land because the only way they can reclaim the land is it has to be abandoned. That means it don't have a caretaker. That's the only way they can claim the land. But we still here. They thought we wasn't gonna never figure out who we was, but we ain't never forget. Everybody that's probably watching this, somebody in their family talking about we got Indian in our family. No, we don't got Indian. We are the Indian families.
Mm.
We the ones. We was already here.
Two more. Well, we'll see. How do you feel about exploding head syndrome and deja vu?
Well, deja vu is more my territory than exploding head syndrome. I'm not quite familiar with that term. But deja vu, it can come from a series of things because nothing is new under the sun. And sometimes the circumstances is so similar to a circumstance in a past life till it's almost identical. And you have an aha moment. I did this before. You did do it before, but only you had on blue pants instead of green ones. That was the thing that was different. When you have a deja vu, figure out what's different. Then you'll know that, oh, okay, I experienced it in the last life, one of these prior lifetimes, and only it was a little bit different.
Mhm. Um, Romana says, "Can someone please talk about melanated women having Rh negative blood?"
It's not just melanated people, it's also unmelanated people that have Rh negative blood. Contrary to popular opinion, the largest cross section of Rh negative in the melanated community is O negative, right? And that's they call it a universal blood type. And they can give anybody blood, but they can't take blood from anybody, only from certain ones, right? But yeah, so the melanated woman is a original bloodline of the negative blood, the Rh negative blood. But they're not the only ones. It's across all communities have Rh negative blood.
Mhm. All right. Can you ask him to speak on the? Oh no, we already went over that question. Uh, these are. Let me see. Talk about Jesus is actually ISIS.
All you got to do is go back to the Greek. If you go back to the Greek, the spelling for the word that they translating as Jesus is Iesous. In the Greek pronunciation, the capital I automatically silences the E, goes hard on the S, silences the O, go hard on the US. It's ISIS. One language back. That's all you got to do.
All right, we're gonna take one more question, then I'm gonna let these gentlemen close it out. Who was the first to actually civilize the white man?
The white man. The white man ain't white, first off. And at some point in time, all people have decided to live what we would consider in this day and time